And so it was said that if the pillars of the world shall fall, darkness will descend upon all that lives. From the Book of the Dark. Man did not heed this warning. The sacred cosmic tree burned to cinder. And so the darkness came, claiming all that was bright and living in Thea. When all hope was lost, after a century without light, the sun rose once more. Thea awakened from her dark slumber, and you along with her. But Thea is not the world that once was. The age of darkness weakens, but it is far from over. Life took its shy roots, yet death will not release its grip easily. While the sun keeps some of the evil in check during the fleeting days, at night, the creatures of darkness roam free and angry, unwilling to give up their dominion over the land. It is up to you to find a way to rebuild Thea, banish the darkness, and strengthen mankind.
All right. Welcome to the beginning of a new Let's Play. This is Thea the Awakening with the Return of the Giants free DLC, along with a lot of other stuff that they've been adding to the game. I really love this game. I'm just going to say that right now. I have started a completely new profile just so we can go through this together. I have played Velays a lot. I really like Velays. Veals, whatever. I have never really done Morena, so we're going to do Morena. So what happens is you choose whichever god you want, and they both... Here's the kind of silly thing, is that actually choosing between Velays and Morena is the same, because the only ability I'm going to start with choosing these gods is I research faster, and I research faster. So gameplay-wise, there's no difference, except that, you know, obviously when you get them leveled up to level 5, they'll be different. So yeah, if you're new to this game entirely, I'll kind of be glossing over a lot of stuff. But basically, you play these gods, and whether you win or fail, and that's what's interesting about this game, is you win or you lose. It's a really unusual game. It's just, I don't know how to describe it from here, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time doing it. I'm just going to jump into the gameplay. But anyway, all you need to know is that my god, because I'm starting on a new profile, like you could think of this all as like kind of like new game plus material here. Except that every time whether you win or lose, your god gains experience, as you can see here, and then they get better abilities, and you can play at higher difficulty levels. Now, the difficulty levels are over here, so you can play with normal, easy, etc. And what they do is they will modify your score. And your score basically translates into experience points that go into going up in levels, making your god tougher so you can do more tough stuff. And maybe do some of the tougher events that you couldn't do on your first 1 or 2 playthroughs. And the thing is, you can customize the difficulty completely here. So this is what difficult looks like, or what the settings for difficult looks like. I am going to go with difficult, I believe. But I want to see here. Reshuffles, we'll get into that later. None, or you can do paid, and it doesn't really change one way or the other. But I'll go with none. I mean, yeah. Save games, so this is your Iron Man mode basically, and obviously it affects your score. Since I play Iron Man all the time, I'm gonna go no. Realism, well, you can just read it there. Gathering is changed, and you can only have one of each building type in your village. You know, the one of each building type is fine, but the gathering thing, which you'll see later, is kind of a bit hardcore for me. And obviously, if you change any of these, they go to custom. Economy, world size, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's probably pretty self-explanatory. Godlike, no, we're not going to be doing godlike. And again, difficult, group limit 16. This is how many cards you can play, I think, right? Yeah. So you can have like more than 60. Every character in your party is going to be a card in combat. You'll see that later. Starting villagers 9. I almost want to go normal. And go no. No. Group limits, 16 will be okay. What's Bloodbath? This is a new one to me. When on, wounds from fights can exceed a character's health. Not sure. I think if you turn it on, it makes it harder. Yeah, so... interesting. That means I think they're more likely to die after combat. Okay, so no saves, reshuffles none, starting villagers, I don't need that many. Actually making them 7, like already I think. Nope, normal with that would be easier. Versus Warlord. You know what? Let's make it interesting. We're gonna go difficult. Now, village focus. I can have warriors, gatherers, or craftsmen. And honestly, this is a tough one for me to decide on here. I think I'm gonna try warriors. I don't know. Things have changed with this game. There's been some updates, so there's gonna be some features I'm gonna be discovering for the first time here. So some of my tactics and strategy may be outdated. I know a lot of people like to go with craftsmen. And that's because they would start with, I think they started with more children, and crafting is really important too, as you'll see. Gatherers is also one that I'm usually tempted to go with gathering, but I'm going to go with warriors. I think this is going to be a safer bet for me, just because I'll be able to kill the bad stuff that's going to be out there, making my life very difficult, and it'll start me out with a medic too. Anyway, let's just go ahead and jump right on in, okay? So these are my basic settings, and we'll see how these play out later as the game progresses. So, Morena... Oh, one more thing I wanted to say, so we'll just go ahead and go in. I am going to record it anyway, but I may reload my starts, because I want to get a start that I feel is balanced. I don't want it to be too favorable towards me, and I don't want it to be too unfavorable towards me. And there's just a little bit of stuff in the game that maybe they've balanced it, but I don't know if they have yet. For example, if you start in snow, that's really terrible. Like, I think they try to make it so you get more starting children to kind of balance against starting in snow.
Thea is awakened. Welcome. No time to waste. You are a deity of the High Pantheon, and you must help your worshippers survive the darkness. So what now, you ask? You are divine, yes, but you have little power, and so you will know the world through your people's eyes. This means sometimes you will encounter your own divine messengers, and maybe even face your own avatars. Weird, I know. Your first mission is to survive. Every critter is trying to make sure you stay down. So get food and craft better equipment to protect yourselves. You will guide your people to victory, either by sheer survival and progress, or by solving the cosmic tree's mystery.
Okay, I just wanted to stop talking there and let the voice acting go through. And that's one thing I'll say right now. This first episode I'll do some reviewish type commentary. One thing about the voice acting in this game is it's all done basically by one single narrator, and some people criticize it being like, oh, there should be more voice actors. I personally love the fact that they've decided to go with one voice actor, even though there's probably the, perverse incentive that it's cheaper to just use one person for all the voices. But this is a talented voice actor, and it gives it more of a storybook feeling. It gives it more of an audiobook feeling. I really think it's working. It was a savvy choice on their part. Now, here we got the kind of the premise, and a lot of people, if you start jumping into this game like I did, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. This just looks like a lot of fun, and I want to play the game. Now, the tutorial, you can do the tutorial, but I am not going to. I don't need to. So,
Right. Now are you absolutely sure? There is no calling me back, you know. Also, when you have time, craft a 10 cooked, baked, or roasted food, any type. You may want to research some varieties as well to match your supplies. Also, leave these 10 crafted foods in the village until I show up. Remember to check the magical help button to read more. Yeah, I know more about any mechanics.
okay. Yes, I am sure. Craft 10 food, baked or roasted food, and leave it in the village. Got it, now off with you. Leave tutorial. Yeah, we're not going to do the tutorial. And here's something that always perplexed me a bit with the game, is it starts you with 5 experience and 2 research. And I'm not sure if it's because this is what you would get normally through going through the tutorial or not. But anyway, I think that's what it means. Otherwise, it's kind of like, I don't know, why bother? Anyway, let's see. It's giving me the tutorial and I don't need it, actually. So you can... Yeah, don't need any of that. Thank you. All right. Now, first thing I'm going to do here is go over and check my resources. Okay, this is a fine start. It's not wonderful by any stretch of the imagination, but it's given me the 2 basic starting resources, and there's like really nothing around me. There's clay over here, but it's a little far to get to. Now, depending, you can get some really interesting starts where maybe you have like a really great rare resource right next to you, or even the string. If this string was just like 1 hex closer to my village, then watch this. Go to my village. This is my harvesting range. If that string was 1 hex closer, I could gather it. There is a way to change that, although that's going to be new to me in the game, that particular mechanic. But as it is, this is going to be your standard start. You get vegetables and you get wood. And I didn't want to get something weird, too weird, like overpowered, where like maybe I had a lot of stuff close by. I mean, it's almost best that this is the spawn that I got. As far as kind of trying to show a vanilla-ish start. I'm not in the snow, which is great. And sometimes you can get really interesting but challenging, I don't know, interesting setups where instead of vegetables you have meat or something, or like rare or like exotic fruit, which take forever to harvest. But anyway, yeah, so we're gonna stick with this start. It's not interesting to me. If I were playing this normally, I'd probably restart, just because I've played this particular start enough times that I'd like to change it up and do something different. I like to play with something different. Anyway, first thing we have here is we have our villagers. How many villagers do we have? Oh, this is what we look like up here, right? Giant's Quest, Advanced Victory. Oh, Advancement Victory. Okay, this looks actually a little bit new to me. Quest Victory. Finish the God's main quest to win. When the time is right, you will receive a clue to follow the Cosmic Tree quest. Okay, that's one way to win. The giants are waking up. Can you hear people... Can your people overcome this new threat? The giants will return to Thea in time. You may discover why and how. Advancement Victory. To achieve Advancement Victory, 3 of 4 requirements must be met. Have population of 50 people. Currently, my population is 9. Unlock at least 70% of the technology tree. Currently unlocked 0%. Build 3 grand buildings costing 1,660 or more production points. Currently built 0. Defeat 30 opponents. 4 plus skulls in any type of challenge. Opponents defeated 0. So this is, yeah, these are the ways you beat the game, and then this is my score modifier. Okay. I have this expedition here. So you have villagers in here. Like, let's take a look. And 0 of 3. Yeah, here's my 3 villagers that are here. Yes, thank you. I do not need to see this. Okay. And these vegetables and wood, anything within that range, like I said, would show up here as things I could gather. And first we need to get food. Badly. So I'm going to put those 2 guys in there. Now crafting. They've changed some of the art on these, and I'm not sure how I feel about some of it, to be perfectly honest with you. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so we'll come back to that in a sec, but that's your crafting tab. That's where you build stuff. And then here's your buildings. So you can build your buildings here, obviously. And that's what the crafting is going to be used for. Now, I'm going to come back to this, but first we're just gathering resources. Okay, who is in this expedition now? Because here's the thing, is your expedition can go out and gather stuff too, if it's not next to your village, which the vast majority of things are not going to be next to your village. What is this? Pavis. Man, some of this stuff is new to me. I don't know what this is. It's a buckler? Okay. Well, let's go to equip. Yep, equipment. Here's our equipment screen. So all of your villagers get this neat little portrait, and then your check mark here, this will hide everything that's currently equipped by somebody, and then you can... Man, the art has changed. This is the older art, and this is new art. I haven't seen it before. So here's my medic, and basically this just affects the kind of skills you can get. Here's a filter to look at the different skills. Everything is currently on, which is probably fine. And then depending on the kind of challenge you go up against, you can filter. So like in a fight challenge, these are the abilities that are used. Anyway, let's go ahead and just cancel that. So we're looking at everything here. As your guys level up, I tend to want to filter based on stuff I don't need to see anymore. Yeah, there's the Pavis. It was in his shield slot right there. 4, 6, and then 1 dexterity. And all of these will do different things in the challenge differently, and they mouse over and they tell you a little bit, and we'll see that when we get into combat. Alright, so this is their weight allowance. He's wearing a quilted cloth shirt that is 5 armor, and the bone spike armor is 10 armor points, but it weighs 220 pounds versus 76. I don't know if he can wear it. Yeah, 474, he's overweight. And as you can see, his Pavis is a better shield than this little buckler, round shield. What have you got? Can you... No. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by unequipping everybody, because I want to get that bone armor on somebody, you know? This is a new portrait. By the way, they also changed it now. Warriors, the thing about warriors, they used to not have these 2 slots here. Ah, man, so much has changed. And I'm glad they changed it so that they can. Because warriors were a little underpowered. That was another reason I didn't say it in the beginning. That was another reason I wanted to do with the warrior start, is because they've changed warriors. The warriors aren't as bad as... I mean, they're a better start now than what they used to be. First thing I'm going to do is I have this heavy armor, 220 pounds, right? I want to find my person who has the heaviest carrying capacity. And that is that guy. So he gets to wear this, okay? I like to match up by their portrait. So he's got a big ol' axe there. I'm going to give him the big ol' axe. Okay, good. And you've got a sword. All right. You can have a sword. And you have a sword. All right. You can have a sword. And you don't have anything, and you don't have anything, so it doesn't matter. All right. Now, next. So you've got that. How much does this weigh? 76. And that weighs 104 and 104. Okay, well, let's just give her... Does she have dexterity already? Here's the thing I like to do when I have dexterity stats, is I like to find somebody who maybe already has dexterity and then boost it. It's usually better if you can boost things like, you know, he has speech. It'd be nice to give him a plus... It'd be better to give him a 4 speech than to find somebody who has 0... Well, he has 2. Than to find somebody who has, like, 0 speech and give them 1. Like, that's not as useful. Anyway, 88... I want to give the heavy stuff to my warriors because... Ooh, interesting. Just because these guys don't have nearly the carrying capacity, right? So probably better to give them the lighter equipment. See, this weighs 88, and that weighs 104. Well, you can carry 300, so you go ahead and... Yeah, you take those. Okay, and you... Perception. Does anybody have perception already? No. No. Nobody has perception? Really? Well, that's too bad. Oh, he has gathering. That's nice. And curse. That's an interesting one. Oh, you're a fighter. Man, you don't have anything, do you? Okay, hang on. That's a 2 blunt damage versus 331, 35. And that put your dex up to 6. Okay, I'm fine with that, because your dex is non-existent. So, thank you. Exactly, that's what I wanted to demonstrate. So he already has 5 dexterity. Instead of giving this guy a 1 dexterity, I would rather give this guy a boost to dexterity. And you'll see why later. So that's my strategy when I choose, you know, what weapons to give whom. Now, my only thing is... I would really rather give that club to somebody who has a little bit more armor. No, because he's got the double-handed axe. So I'm going to give it to him. Okay. Very good. And I'll give her the two-handed sword. Give him the one-handed sword. And the perception, let's just give it to our doc. Our doc's not going to do nothing. Alright, so that's our setup. I'm going to try not to spend quite so much time doing that in the future. Yes, we need to eat, I know. But it gets a little involved sometimes. Now, we'll move in here, and the reason I'm doing that is I'm going to drop off this equipment, these thingamajigs, because I do not need to carry them out there into the wild with me. I would maybe opt to take a little bit of wood. I'll take 5 wood with me, just in case we get into a fight that we have to rest. Gathering, he's the only one with gathering. 1 gather is not enough. I'm gonna take him with me. That's gonna be valuable. And 5 craft versus 6 craft. She's the one I want to keep in the village. Now, where to go? Well, I want to explore these ruins, but before I do that, why don't we try doing combat? Alright, so here's a spider's nest. Now, one nice thing about starting with fighters is I can get some juicy stuff out of these spiders' nests that I want pronto. Alright, now, when you approach the beasts, you have time to decide your plan of action. Basically, these blue options are ones that are conditionally available. Right, and there's another one that's available that I don't have, and I think it's probably the hunting option, but I don't have enough gatherers to do that. And sickness is available because I have the medic in my party. But you always have fight as available. Let's do the sickness, just because it's a little bit lower stakes for me. It's a little less dangerous. If it fails, I'll just go into a fight anyway, usually. Sometimes you'll get wounds if you do these, but these are usually a little bit safer. And normally I would, you prepare to brew a potent poison, one that will surely slay any beast. Get brewing. Usually I auto-resolve these, right? I have 2 sickness cards that I have to fight, but I want to demonstrate the combat, and also because, to be perfectly honest, combat is going to be kind of the deal breaker for a lot of people in this game. This is combat. It's done with a card game mechanic. I don't have a problem with this. I actually really appreciate its ingenuity. You have these 2 separate stacks. We're 6 cards against 2, by the way. Each of my characters represents a card. Half of my cards get dealt into my combat hand, and the other half get dealt into tactics. And so since there were only the 2 for the 2 spiders, basically. Well, no, not the 2 spiders. It's a little different. Anyway, I have to deal against these combat cards. Now, let's see. It's going to do 6 damage. Now, since this is a sickness challenge, I'm okay with just sticking him out there, and he takes 6 damage. That's fine. It's not going to be towards his hit points yet. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have chosen to do this as the initial. Well, we'll just go through it, okay? I'll talk about combat in the next episode, but this is the gist of what it looks like. Okay, so he's going to attack and do 6 damage to this guy because that's the only guy he can attack. He can only attack left or right, which is going to be my gripe with this game, is that it's not one or the other. It's random whether you attack left or right. Anyway, he'll attack that. He will attack either left or right, depending. What I'm going to do to ensure that he only attacks left is I'm going to use this ability here in my tactics, which is counter tactic, and that's going to force that card to be discarded. Okay, so it goes into discard, that gets discarded, and now it's my turn again. Alright, so he is going to be attacked for 6, then he's going to counterattack for 2, and then I need to do 8 damage, and my medic can easily do that. Alright, and I can put all my cards out. To get closer, if you do this, he will join combat, but combat has 2 phases, and here, you'll see what happens. When he comes out, he gets a little question mark. That means he's confused. He's not going to act in the first phase. What's the first phase? Well, I'm glad you asked. Here we go. Forfeit further moves. Yes, here we start. Goes left to right in order who attacks. Fight phase 1. Did 6 damage. Does 2 damage. Does 11 damage. Now, fight phase 2 of 2. Well, who are they fighting? You go next to the discard phase. And unfortunately, these two killed it, but at that point, this guy would have attacked. Now, why I love going after the spider's nest is I can get these nice spider silk resources. Good old spider silk. Love it. All right. And there we go. Some more resources over here. We're out of moves. And go in here. Next thing to look at is going to be research over here. This here just gives you your quest log. So Theodore's tutorial. And yeah, we just went through it. Quest log. Oh, I know what we need to do too. Theodore wants us to make some cooked foods. Well, here's our cooked meals. Let's make some cooked meals. Here's the recipe. Here's the ingredients we have available. Well, this is basically all I can do. Put 2 indiscriminate meats there, along with the catalyst. What happens is these get converted into the new item, and then the catalyst is just burnt, expires, goes bye-bye. So, have no more wood after that. So we're going to make jerky. We're going to make 2. How much does that make per one? I can't remember. It's going to make 8, I want to say. Oh, does it make just 8? Period? We'll find out. I think I need to make 2. So she has a production of 60, and this costs 50. That means in the next turn she's already going to have produced 1 recipe of jerky, and then she'll have 10 leftover production points going in towards the second batch. Anyway, that's what she's going to do. Finally, here's our research points, and as this ticks around, we get more research points for here. And here's our experience screen. Once this ticks around, all of our villagers get bonuses. You'll see that too. Anyway, here's our research screen. What do I want to research? Well, usually I decide maybe usually I want to decide a resource that's nearby, but this is actually kind of a bad start in that, like, really all I have is string. Maybe clay. Clay takes some time to research, so I could unlock a resource to go gather, or I could unlock wow, all the art has changed, or I could unlock new weapons and food recipes, which I'm not going to do, or I can unlock a building. You usually kind of like to go with the smithy to help boost production. Oh, and that's right. A proper place for crafting items and equipment increases the crafting skill and unlocks the chance to craft good quality items. That's very nice. Children growing up to be craftsmen receive 5 more skill points. Interesting. Grants. I like the well, but I don't have the resources for it. I will have string, though. I don't know. Cabbage makes vegetables and has a chance of giving you babies, which is nice. And if I build the herbalist hut, it produces herbs, which are good to have, and it allows me to make medics, recruit medics. What's up here? Oh, I don't know yet. Okay, and watchtower, observation point. You can only have 1 watchtower. Same thing with the well, you can only have 1 well. I don't know. I think... You know, it doesn't take too long to gather string. I think... Boy, I don't know, man. Toughy. And what... Oh, and we do not... This is something you need to always do when you start the game. It's really annoying. You need to make sure you tell people, like, hey, don't burn my elven wood and don't burn my dark wood. You can burn this wood, don't burn this wood. Allow use of new items? No. Only use what we already have now. Okay. So, inventory. So this is what we got. Nothing terribly remarkable here. I really don't know what to tell you. I really don't know. Boy, oh boy. This is what we need to build a smithy. Ah. Okay. Well, I'm going to decide off camera, and we'll unlock our research in the next episode, and we'll continue doing battle, and I'll continue giving my thoughts about the game to try to, hopefully, if you're deciding whether you want this game or not, or whether it's for you, you'll be able to make up your mind. I think it's a great game. I just think this is, except for one turd in the punch bowl, which I'll come to, I just think this is a remarkably good game. I've sunk hours and hours and hours into it, and I'm really looking forward to playing it. Anyway, talk to you next episode. Until then, bye-bye.